So here we are with our Wild Edible and Survival Skill of the Month. Coming up. Here we are, Wild Edible Survival Skill of the Month. First off, some sad news. Creek Stewart is ending this, effective with what I have. So May 2026, that's the last Survival Skill and Wild Edible of the month that he's doing. He's giving it up. He is also putting his Apoca box on hiatus. He doesn't know, what direction he's going to go with that, which I appreciate. He's been doing this for 10 years. Apoca box for longer, like 14 or something like that. He's got to be getting tired, and, there's really, you figure 10 years, that's 12 times, it's 120 wild edibles and survival skills, so, it can burn a guy out. But we're going to enjoy these last two, and we're going to get them in our binders, and at this rate, I might see if I can fit them all into one binder and just put them in the Survival Skill of the Month binder, because they still have the emblem just like all the survival skills, and I'll just have the wild edibles at the end. That way I only have one binder to worry about. So, but with that, let's get into this. We're going to start with our wild edible of the month for April, and we'll see what we got. Again, I would have kept going with this one forever, but it's his club, and if he's decided that he's done everything he can with it, then I respect that. A little bit sad. I wish I could get all the old ones, but it is what it is. So for April, we have the Spring Beauty, Claytonia virginica, and it is here in Texas, which is nice. Maybe not in my Texas, but it is in Texas. And as always, you've got these beautiful pictures. You got the habitat, so it tells you pretty much found in rich deciduous woodlands, floodplains, and moist forest floors, so definitely not here. Then he's got his little commentary there, which he always does a good job, talking about it. Finally, the unique identifying features, which is extremely important with wild edibles, because you have to make sure you know exactly what you're eating, because a lot of wild edibles have lookalikes that are toxic. And then, of course, we have our harvest and preparation. So it tells you how to harvest it, how to prepare it. And last, we get a recipe, the Spring Beauty Camp Salad. So that's pretty cool. Handful of Spring Beauty tubers, butter or oil, pinch of salt. Rinse tubers thoroughly, add to a small pan with butter or oil, cook over low heat for several minutes until tender, season with salt, and enjoy on top of a bed of wild salad greens. So, the best edible parts: tuber, young leaves, and the flowers. Lightly saute like small root vegetables, eaten raw as a trail snack, or added to soups or simple camp meals. Tubers are small and slow to collect. Harvest responsibly and never over harvest a patch. Always confirm identification before consuming. That's like one of the most important things you need to know. Alright, so that is our wild edible. You know what? We're just gonna do this. We're gonna finish up our wild edible. We're gonna go to our May wild edible of the month. This is the last wild edible of the month that we will receive. This is the end of the club right here. So hopefully it's a nice one. Hopefully it's something that I can find in my area. Or at least, this is this one here could not be perfect final wild edible for me. We have the prickly pear cactus. This is actually, I'm going to be doing my own videos, and this is one of the ones that I want to feature, because we have a lot of them here. You can go out to the desert, you can find some real healthy ones. The ones in the city I would avoid, because, the toxins, from like the exhaust and stuff. But yeah, so here we have the prickly pear cactus. And it is in 48 of the 50 states. the habitat, leaf shape, pad margin, pad arrangement, flower height, life cycle. These are pretty hard to misidentify, if for nothing else. Then here we have a wonderful commentary with some beautiful pictures. Beautiful, beautiful pictures. And the nice thing about prickly pears is that and here we got our identifying features. So, you know, the pads, the fruit, the flowers, they're easy to identify. If you misidentify this, then you need not be doing anything with wild edibles. Then, of course, best edible parts: young pads, nopales, the fruit, the tunas, and the flower petals. Harvest young tender pads using gloves or tongs. Carefully remove spines and glochids before handling or cooking. Commonly cooked or prepared. Pads are grilled or sauteed as a vegetable. Fruits can be eaten raw. Juice, syrup, jelly, or candy added to eggs, tacos, soups, or salads. These things are so useful. I'm married to, my wife is Mexican, so we eat a lot of this all the time. And then here you have your prickly pear camp skillet. And then you use 1 to 2 cleaned young prickly pear pads, olive oil or butter, pinch of salt, optional garlic or onion. Carefully remove all spines and glochids. That's the most important thing, because you do not want to get those in your mouth through your throat. You will not be having a good day. You have to burn those off. That's really the only way. Burn them, and then you scrape them and get rid of all that. Carefully, okay, and then slice into thin strips. Into strips, saute in oil or butter for several minutes until tender. Lightly seasoned. Serve alongside eggs, meat, or rice. There we go. There's our skillet. Absolutely wonderful. You know what? I'm sad, but I'm happy. I'm happy that this is our final wild edible, because this is something that I have all over. So that's fantastic. Absolutely beautiful final one. All right, let's get into our survival skill of the month. This one I'm even more sad about leaving. I would. This one is like, man, this one is devastating that it's done, but oh well, it is what it is. I sent him an email. I never got a response back, because I would purchase, past ones, because this is just such a cool thing. We use one of our fake dermasafes we got from the Denpo kits. Because really, with a knife, you don't need these. They're good for like those small survival kits, but all right. So building up to our final survival skill of the month, we have how to make a bison jawbone war club. So that's pretty cool. Materials and tools: handsaw or hacksaw for trimming, a belt sander or metal file for shaping, sandpaper ranging from 80 to 400 grit for smoothing, a drill if you want to add a wrist lanyard hole, epoxy for additional reinforcement. However, this project can absolutely be done with primitive methods alone, which we'll cover in detail below. Selecting the right jawbone, cleaning preparation, defining the shape, shaping the handle, and the pictures on these are very. I love how he does a really good job with these pictures, right? Then you got refining the striking edge, sanding and finishing, then finally shaping the bone in the field. Primitive methods. Then we got our primitive methods. You got your historical and biblical connection, practicality, and deployability in the field. How practical is a jawbone club in a real-world survival situation? The answer is more practical than you might think. One of the greatest strengths is availability. In a hunting or trapping scenario, bones are often one of those durable materials left behind. With time and effort, they can be shaped into functional tools without the need for manufactured equipment. So yeah. Final thought. This is more than just a project, it's just shift in perspective. It's about looking at something discarded and seeing potential, about understanding that tools don't always come from stores, They come from awareness, creativity, and willingness to work with what's in front of you. A bone on the ground in the right hands because something entirely different. Last page. So there you go. That's pretty cool. How to make a bone war club. You never know. You might be in a situation where that is a needed. Oh, there's still the last ones. Okay, and this is it. This is our final survival skill of the month. So sad. So sad. Hopefully we get something good. We need a good survival skill, something extremely practical that we can put into practice. And I'm like, we got it.
Good morning.
How to make a simple buckskin shirt. One large piece of buckskin. So. And then you've got like size your buckskin. Prepare your t-shirt design. Ooh, this one's 4 pages. You gotta trace your pattern out. Then you cut your shape. You fold and align it. This is actually pretty cool. Punch holes for lacing, and you can do that with an awl. And then you create your laces out of your buckskin. So you can lace the sides. You size the neck hole. And if you want, you can add fringe on it. There's the fringe. Then we got practicality and durability in the field. This project is more than just a nod to indigenous craftsmanship. It's a highly practical survival skill. While buckskin is an incredible material, the real value of this skill is adaptability. The same method can be used in a wide range of materials in different environments. There are many real-world survival scenarios where individuals are forced to abandon their vehicles in cold conditions. In those situations, the following materials could be sourced: car upholstery, seat covers, blankets, sleeping bags. These can be repurposed using this exact method to create a functional outer layer. So that is it. Those are our final. That's it. That's a wrap. Done. No more wild edible. No more survival skill. So now I get $14 back a month. And the only other thing I would have used with that $14 a month, because that's $30 every 2 months, would have been a pocket box. But since that's going away too, then I guess that's it. As far as Creek Steward is done, there's nothing more. If he ever brings a pocket box back, I might resubscribe. Again, I had gotten just so bored with like the contents that it wasn't as good as like the first couple I got were pretty cool, but then they just went downhill. But I'm gonna be sad to see these go, but it is what it is. After doing it for 10 years, I get it. You do this every month, and even if this is what you live, it gets tiring. So thank you, Creek Steward. I do appreciate all the survival skills. I do appreciate all the wild edibles that you sent me. This is very practical information, and it's good to have available. So, yeah. So you can't get this anymore. So that door is closed. That window's closed. I got it for probably about a year, a little over a year. So maybe a year and a half, close to 2, I guess. Just come to think of it. But that's it. That's a wrap. Anyway, but you know what? You get other things. There'll be other things like this wonderful book here that we got in our Braille and Blade. It's a pretty cool book. I'm gonna get into this soon too. I still got to finish up reading the other book that I was starting. I've been doing updates on. I was doing updates on that over on TikTok, and then I kind of just got overwhelmed with stuff. So, but I'm gonna start reading these books and doing chapter synopsis, and whether or not and then after I do all the chapter synopsis, I'll kind of tell you whether or not I think that book is valuable or if it's just something you can avoid and get another book. So, but until next time, keep prepping.